Alright, y'all, what's poppin'? It's your boy JP. I got another one for y'all. We're gonna be tapping in with Central America's deadliest drug gang, the war on drugs. So it says MS-13 are a gang so deadly and violent that the Trump administration tried to officially label them a terrorist group. But how does the gang really operate? So we're gonna find out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna jump right in it. Turn your post notifications on so you know anytime I post a video. And yeah, let's check out MS-13, man. I've been hearing about MS-13 for a long time. But being from New York, you feel me? Like, we don't really got them type of gangs. Well, like in the boroughs like that. I do hear, like Long Island got some MS-13s and like Spanish, them type of Spanish gangs. But for the most part, living in, you know what I'm saying, Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens and stuff like that, we don't really got them type of, like even Harlem, we don't got like them type of Spanish gangs as far as like MS-13, you feel me? So we're gonna jump right in and let's check it out how they working out here, you feel me? One.
Abra la puerta pues.
Si ella no quiso pagar, lo primero que hacemos, le enviamos al esposo.
MS-13 and its rivals like the 18th Street.
Yo, she just said if she refuses to pay, we're gonna kill her husband. Sheesh!
Cause chaos and violence across Central America, sometimes at levels similar to active war zones.
Aquí son MS, bien accidentado el terreno, lo que les da a ellos una ventaja.
But designating these gangs as terrorists or even as cartels is part of a long-standing pattern of US officials misunderstanding how they operate.
Transnational criminal organizations like MS-13 represent one of the gravest threats to our American safety.
This is how gangs like MS-13 actually fit into the drug trade.
I think the
And
type
how it's
of
the
gangs
war
too,
on
they start
drugs
like in
itself
California.
that creates the conditions for them to cause chaos.
Y'all let me know in the comments if that's facts. If you
The
come
gang wars of
yourself,
Central America have pushed countries like El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala almost to breaking point. In 2012, Honduras became the most violent country on earth outside actual war zones, with an average of 20 homicides a day.
Man,
in a
20
country
a
that
day
just
is
8 million
crazy.
people.
This young man had been tied up, gagged, and beaten. The police didn't find any identification on him, so like so many other victims in this city, he will be classified as unknown.
Dang, that's
Each month,
fucked
the
up
San
for
Pedro
the
Sula
family.
morgue buries dozens of unclaimed, unidentified bodies in a mass grave.
But the gangs driving this violence didn't originate in Central America at all. They largely came out of the streets of Los Angeles.
Told
In its
ya.
early days, MS-13 was mainly known for its love of heavy metal bands like Black Sabbath, with the gang taking up the Devil's Horns hand sign and other satanic imagery.
Oh, that's
as part
what
of its
that means.
identity.
It be
In the
on
late
something.
1970s and early 1980s, Los Angeles experienced a huge influx of Salvadoran and other Central American migrants. At first, it was much more centered on kind of their love of rock and roll and metal music. And over time, because they were in this violent atmosphere, they evolved into what we know today as the MS-13, this very violent gang.
The problems for Central America began in the 1990s, when, in response to the so-called crack epidemic, the US government passed laws allowing it to deport gang members, often for drug crimes.
When members
Everybody
or
and their
ex-members
mother
of
was getting
gangs
deported.
get deported in mass from the United States back to Central America, what they find is incredibly fertile ground for them to become involved in gangs again. And they find it very easy to usurp the power of local gangs and become the leaders.
That gotta be the crazy part about it, bro. You gotta look like this. For a gang to start like in the States and then you just start deporting everybody and their mother and then put them like in a whole country, bro. That's how they take over. I think that's how they got so many numbers too.
Because they carry with them this kind of United States cachet.
Jose joined MS-13 in the US at just 13 years old. He was deported back directly from a US prison.
Damn.
But since he's not wanted for crimes in El Salvador, he's being treated like any other deportee, released back into the streets.
Pase por acá.
He's convinced he'll be killed any day by police or rival gangs.
Whoa.
And he thinks his best chance to protect himself is getting straight back into the game.
Once the police find out where I live at, they're gonna come and snatch me, and they're gonna kill me.
In 2006, the Mexican government, backed by billions of dollars of US military aid, declared war on the cartels. Previously, cartels moved cocaine from South America to Mexico largely by sea and air. These days, they avoid the increasingly aggressive Mexican Navy by relying more on land routes through Central America's chaotic border zones.
The balloon effect in drug policy is the notion that if you push on one area and trying to police or repress, any part of drug production or drug trafficking organizations, then it will act like a balloon. In other words, you push on a balloon on one side and the air pushes out on another side.
Yeah, they just burn all that drug
in one area, then they will simply pop up in another, because the demand for these crops doesn't disappear because you destroy them. It remains.
International cartels will often fight over trade networks, but the street gangs like MS-13 rely on controlling territory for extortion and street level.
You know what's crazy? I don't know which country is it. I think it's Honduras and stuff like that, where they kind of like, if they catch you with a gang tattoo or anything like that, they gonna lock your ass up. You feel me? And it got crazy to the point where, I know they had them all like in one jail, and I think they burned them down or some craziness. Well, I don't really know what country that happened in, but I know they don't play with the gang members no more. You feel me? Because they went out there just to terrorize with all they little ways from the states. You feel me? Which is crazy. But I mean, they was really extorting people out there. And come on, 20 bodies a day. They was out of control.
And this is where the truly horrifying violence of Central America really takes off.
Puta, mira, hombre, cuando anduviéramos, siempre que matamos, anduviéramos ondas de esas, grabáramos.
My son said, imagine we could film anytime we kill somebody.
How does MS control a neighborhood and you can't even see them?
La onda está que la policía, ¿me entiendes? Vamos, así como está organizada, también las pandillas sí estamos organizadas, ¿me entiendes? Creen que con su inteligencia a nosotros los van a debilitar, y lo que están haciendo dándoles fuerzas para seguir adelante.
Members of the MS-13 have tried to pull the MS-13 closer to becoming what may be euphemistically called the drug cartel, because the MS-13 is not set up to be the criminal organization. They're set up to be kind of a proxy family, a criminal family to be sure. The United States government has used a number of tools to go after gangs. One of them is this so-called RICO law, which is a conspiracy law that was originally set up to go after mafia organizations. In other words, you don't have to be directly involved in a crime in order to be connected to an overall.
That's what all these rappers are getting hit with, RICOs.
While plenty of MS-13 members and leaders have been imprisoned in both Central America and the US, it hasn't really dented the gang's power, because these gangs aren't built with the command and control structure of a traditional organized crime group, let alone a political terrorist organization. They are more a fragmentary collection of individual cliques, which can operate independently while sharing the MS-13 brand.
Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, as an example, are trying to defend MS-13 gang members. I called them animals the other day, and I was met with rebuke.
I was met with rebuke.
They're people. They're not people. These are animals.
The chaotic nature of these gangs creates such brutal violence that it's led to a geopolitical crisis, as people flee from their homes in Central America and make the long and dangerous journey to the US southern border.
El propósito mío es estar en Estados Unidos, porque a Honduras no puedo regresar yo.
¿Por qué no?
Porque yo tuve problemas con unos mareros y 2 de ellos están muertos.
There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, imagine the type of pressure where it's like, you see how homeboy said, yo, I just came back to my country, and I know that the police gonna find me and they gonna probably end up killing me. Or just even her, she feel like she can't go back home because she got beef with some of them, and then 2 of them is already dead, but she got beef with the whole gang. Like, just the pressure of having to leave your home where you comfortable at in fear of your life gotta feel crazy.
And put on local residents, especially in places like Central America. They are very active in recruiting. They are very often predatory as it relates to women and girls, and they are violent.
Throughout most of the 2010s, the president of Honduras was Juan Orlando Hernández, Hernandez made himself an ally of the Trump administration by claiming that he'd cracked down on the migration that all the gang violence was causing.
Juan Orlando Hernandez wooed Donald Trump. He really picked up all the rhetoric that was swirling around migration, which sent all the right signals to the United States government.
Trump praised Hernandez in speeches and in 2019 approved $500 million in funding for Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador.
President Hernandez is working with the United States very closely. You know what's going on our southern border, and unfortunately, the drugs become worse, they become bigger quantities, and we're building a wall. Now we're up to almost 100 miles.
But in February of 2022, just a month after being voted out of office, Hernandez was arrested by Honduran police and the DEA and extradited to New York on charges that he smuggled hundreds of tons of cocaine into the US.
That's crazy, fam. Fam went all the way from trying to work with the states, like trying to cover your tracks, and they ended up getting your dumb ass. That's crazy. You was corrupt your whole damn self.
During a meeting with the co-conspirator, Hernandez declared that he wanted, and I quote, to stuff the drugs right up the noses of the gringos.
Yeah, the whole
On one
plan.
hand, it does appear as if it's sort of like a clan that has set up drug trafficking enterprises while they were in power. Honduras is becoming a more prominent area for transit of drug trafficking operations. So they latch onto this for money purposes. Of course, they can make money, and they can use some of that money for their campaigns, and they latch on it for political purposes.
The war on drugs drives corruption everywhere it's fought. But actual heads of state being charged with trafficking is a big deal, even by those standards. And it's exactly this narco-corruption that has contributed to the street gangs being able to take hold and commit mass murder with near impunity, leading to ever more people fleeing to the US.
The sheer number of killings on a daily basis here is quite extraordinary. We know for certain of at least 3 murders every night we stayed. One continuous theme running through all of this is the disproportionate number of women being killed. It's why so many families are leaving.
If you don't have institutions that are robust, well-funded, independent, then you are laying the stage not just for high-level corruption that we see, or drug trafficking, but also the very violent, low-level criminal activities that gangs represent, and the ancillary problems that come with it, including things like migration.
So while the former president of Honduras gets charged with cocaine trafficking, narco-corruption still destroys societies in Central America, and gangs like MS-13 continue to turn the streets into war zones. As much as cynical American politicians may like to label them terrorists or cartels, none of this will stop until they realize the root of the problem is the war on drugs they launched.
We'd like to congratulate drugs for winning the war on drugs.
Alright, y'all, this is the end of the video right here. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. I mean, I feel like just with all of this craziness going on with these people, reality is this, bro. Shit is corrupt all the way. There's a lot of people that got their hands on like the drug market, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? They actually, you know, do all this craziness in terms of like, you know, putting it out there to make it look like they really out here trying to work. But I feel like, me personally, man, the war on drugs is never gonna end, because for one, we all know the real story is, you know, they started it, you know, to fund shit. So it's like, that shit ain't never gonna stop, bro. You're dealing with a lot of countries where it's corrupt, where, you know, people could get bought out. You had was he like the president or the head of the state, whatever he out here doing stuff that he's not supposed to be doing, you know what I'm saying, while trying to work deals and trying to get cool with the United States, you feel me, to fight their little, well, not their little, but the whole gang problem. You know, as far as, you know, MS-13, you know, it is a dangerous gang, and I feel like with them countries out there, that shit is just out of control because of the amount of people that's getting deported, and it's affecting them to the crazy. That's why, if y'all let me know in the comments what country it is that they locking them, all of them up, and they're burning them, torturing them, treating them like shit. Because I remember seeing that in the news one time, and I'm like, damn. But you know, they gotta do what they gotta do, because it's like, you know, they gonna fuck their whole country up, you know, playing around like that. But y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn your post notifications on. Let me know what type of videos y'all like for me to react to, and I promise I'm gonna get them done for y'all. and I'm off this.